Gujarat.
Today is 3rd October 2022 and we are on the verge of completion of 22nd year of the 21st century. And if you look at the journey, it has been beautiful. 19th century industrial era, then 20th century knowledge era, and now we are on the 21st century, which is called the concept era. Everything around you is a concept today, right? Everything is theme-based, right from, say, theme-based parties to theme-based trainings. Everything is conceptual. And it's very nice to know that these concepts, as per the research, can be developed, built, and can be learned. Today I am here to talk about such quality characters like leadership. Hello, good morning and welcome. My name is Charmis Maniar and I am here to talk about self-confidence, leadership and decision making. In this series, you're going to experience a lot of activities and you're going to come across a lot of new things that you will learn about self-confidence, leadership and decision making. I request the participants to actively involve into this. You must have a pen and a paper on your hand and please do the activities because that I suppose is going to be quite helpful to you. Okay, so firstly, I thank Scope for bringing me to this platform and taking this forward. I would want to start with a small activity for you, and that is called the 5 strengths activity. Okay. So when I say it is a 5 strengths activity, what I request you is to take up a paper and write down on a sheet of paper, what are some 5 strengths that you feel are something good about you? Now these things can range from I am beautiful to I can talk to people very easily. It can be I am a good listener. Or it can simply be, I can learn very quickly. So some 5 strengths about yourself, you are going to write it down. Take a moment, realize, and write down these 5 strengths. A little bit apart from what I want you to do, I am going to describe a moment. You know, we all understand a moment as a very short period of time. But actually, a moment is a long duration. In fact, longer than a minute. A moment is a 90 seconds duration. If you do not know, just Google it. Just find it out. You will come to know a moment is longer. And so I want you to take up that one moment of understanding what I am good at, right? Take up the things that you're good at and put it in the 5 strengths, right? You can put this 5 strengths on your 5 fingers of your hand. I am beautiful, I can talk to people well, I can learn very fast, I can be a good listener, I can make good food, right? Any given strength about you can be you, okay? And this is very, very important for anybody to understand what you are good at. And nobody will do it for you, dear, right? It is you yourself who has to understand. Maybe people do not know about it. Maybe some people, even the family around you is unaware about that strength about you, but you realize it. You know it very well. So take that charge right now. Take one moment to analyze and understand what you are good at. Because once you start doing that, we can progress towards self-confidence, leadership, decision making. Everything will flow. First, know yourself. Own your strengths first, right? Like we all say, own our mistakes. It's very important to own our strengths also, because that leads to the progress, right? So, 5 strengths about you that you are going to write it down. I really don't want any answers or any feedbacks coming on very quickly on YouTube and everything, right? Facebook and all. If you can do it, brilliant. But if you can not do it, it's perfectly okay, right? Aram se, take your time and find out 5 strengths in you. Okay? Now, doing that, it is very important for you to understand yourself first, right? Awareness about yourself will give you a lot of things which require your understanding, your involvement at first, right? So first, at the center of everything is yourself, right? So self-awareness about yourself, owning your strengths is very, very important. What happens with that? Okay, with that, the first thing that comes up is emotional awareness. You will be able to understand your own emotions and how they affect your behavior. So probably it happens with me a lot of times, okay? I feel on some days I am good at something. On some other days I feel, oh no, this was not something that I really wanted to explore. No, I am not this. Not my cup of tea, right? Like many a times I call myself, okay, Charmis, yoga, tujhse nahi hoga, right? Not at all a physical activity kind of a person I am. Okay, so that is something completely aside, okay? Now, see, it is very important to know yourself, because first thing it does, it helps you understand your emotion. Your emotional awareness is awakened when you know your strengths, right? The second thing it helps you is to develop your self-confidence. Now, self-confidence we are going to talk in detail today, right? But what is actually self-confidence? It is being comfortable and secured in your own self, and a strong sense of self-worth and capabilities is shown with that. Okay, a lot of us at a lot of time feel that, good for nothing, right? And that is how we actually put our emotions, right? Most of some, I would say, the negative or the critical part of ourself starts starts into us, and more of this is done because we are very critical on ourselves, right? So not being critical, let us first understand that what are our strengths, and with that we will understand self-confidence, self-building very, very accurately, right? Now the third thing that it helps in is accurate assessment, right? Introspective examination of our self, of our strengths and weaknesses, right? When we know we are good at something, right, we can lead to something that we need to improve on. Probably we are bad at something, right? So that is self-assessment, and that is where your strengths will play a vital role, right? It is always good to start from what you know, right? And what you know is your strengths at first, right? We are all critical, and at times we tell ourselves a lot about weaknesses, but talking about weaknesses, it does not lead to growth. Okay, what leads to growth is knowing yourself with your strengths. Okay, what is good about me, what I can deal with very nicely is something that I would rely on. Okay, we don't rely on our weaknesses, we rely on our strengths. So this is one place that you have to really work. You have to take time and find it out, what are your strengths. Okay, so those who have not done this 5 strengths activity up till now, not a problem. Please make a note of it and do it sometime later when you feel that you are in your right self and you can do this activity right now and put yourself into practice. Okay, let's move on to the next part. What is self-confidence? All right, now these are very basic questions, and this comes to us very naturally. I mean, I am more curious person. Okay, so for me, anything without a why will not work. Okay, so for me, everything has to work with a why. So self-confidence, what is it? It is being yourself, right? We've known about it in just the previous slide, right? Now, why do we need self-confidence? Right? See, we need self-confidence to develop ourselves better than what we are, right? Every single day counts in the journey of life, in the journey of everyone's success, right? And that is where we require self-confidence. We need to know the self-worth, and we need to explore more of things with self-confidence, right? So first things answered, why do we need it? Okay, the next thing is, when do we understand that we are confident? I mean, कोई मात्रा थोड़ी ना है, right? 100 gram, 200 gram, 500 gram, nahi. It's not like that. It does not work like that. Okay, so when do you know that you are confident, right? So it's a very beautiful space. Okay, you have you ever seen a child, right? A child first learns to stand up, and then there's dancing going on, and then the baby steps start. Okay, by the time the child is doing baby steps, the child already thinks that he or she can run, right? And so the baby steps are not just slow, they happen to be very quick, right? Now, this is actually a way you should understand how much self-confidence you need, right? So when do you understand that you are confident? It is when you take 1, 2, 3 steps, and by the 4th step you know that I was not able to place it right and I fell, right? That is when a natural confidence for 3 steps began. Okay, so this is what we should internalize. Okay, some things are our own play area. When I say play area, I actually mean by that, if you know what you're good at, right? Some things happen for you, you feel, okay, this is my cup of tea and I am good at it and I will be fairly doing it well. Okay, so that is the place where you know that you are confident. Now, every single time, if you are consciously putting yourself into that situation, you will grow, right? A child first just hangs on that, hanging on the playground, right? And then the first, and then the second, and then the third. Each time it holds a different rod and is able to swing, right? You understand that there is confidence level explored. So every single time you take up a new step, you have to take it as an exploration, and it's fine to fail at that place, right? Because I've not done it before, so it's okay, right? So you should understand that you are confident when you are able to do some part of it, and the other you are able to explore without hesitation, right? So that is when you understand that you are confident. Now, where do we find this? Now, this is a big question. Madam, confidence कहाँ मिलता है? Right? Yeah, हर कोई पीछे खींचता है यार. How am I going to find confidence? Because even if I feel that I did my best, there's somebody laughing behind my back, right? And laughing behind my back is like and you're feeling, oh no, why this person, right? So where do you find it? You don't find it in others, dear. Never, never, never you will find it in others. You will always find self-confidence in yourself, right? And that is going to have a different level of boost, right? If you feel that, wow, I did it well, right? Then it is going to make a mark. It is going to have you a conscious effort towards something that you haven't done before, and you feel you can excel. So kind of an exploration on certain point, but then that exploration leads you to at least that satisfaction that I am confident doing this much, right? Then the next one is, how do we cultivate it, right? Now, there are some easy steps about it, okay? You cultivate self-confidence. Self-confidence is not a pill that you can grab it, have it, and I am sorted. Or probably, no, I do certain tasks and I am self-confident. No, that will not happen, right? Okay, so what happens, how do you cultivate that? So to cultivate self-confidence, what you have to do is you have to every single time be ready to fail, to explore, to know more. And it's okay. Take failures as another way of doing things, and probably that did not work out, right? If you take it that simply, right, self-confidence is going to give a next level of boost, okay? When I was a child, there used to be a teacher who used to call, right, that I want my students to be jack of all and probably master of one, right? So jack of all, I never used to understand what is jack of all. Now, that was one place where she explained us that you do a lot of things in your life, you try a lot of things in your life, and then that lot of things will ensure that it gives you a boost to something that you are brilliant at. So that one place, probably you're going to explore more than the others, but then others, okay, you have done it, right? I can dance, I can sing, I can play harmonium, I can draw very well, I can teach, I can sit and learn any single time I have to sit, I can do that, I can cook, I love to travel, I love to explore, right? It's only some activities, I am scared of, and I feel that, oh no, not this, right? But otherwise, yes. So when I did all these things, when I did all these exploration, and I failed, and somewhere I succeeded, and then somewhere I felt, wow, this was something very unique about me, I started feeling confident, and I started understanding my strengths. I can think creative. I can think in a different manner than what generally the people do. I can find solutions to problems, and I can take my own decisions, right? So all these things lead to self-motivation and bringing confidence in. The next question we have is, how do we use it? Okay. Now, self-confidence is a very, very nice tool, actually. Actually, it's it's a part of your character. It's a part of your self being, right? But then how do you use it is also very important, right? Because most of the time we have a lot of talent, a lot of things within us, and we are not able to use it productively, or we tend to hesitate, on being ourselves to the most, right? So how do you utilize your strength? So first thing, you utilize your self-confidence to excel into something you really know that I can do this brilliantly, right? So probably you want to achieve it. It can be a degree, it can be a sport, it can be any art or creative thing that you want to involve in, right? So first, self-confidence help you to grab that, right? Grab milestones, right? Another place where self-confidence helps you is to develop certain things that you feel that you lack, right? So probably I feel I am not good at sports. Right now, not good at sports leads me to a lot of hesitation when it comes to putting myself into some physical activity, and then being into kind of a competition, right? Though I am quite spontaneous, that sport is something that makes me in a place where nahi, aaj nahi, right? So in that situation, right, my strengths will help me to cope, have a coping mechanism towards something which I can develop in a better way, right? So probably because I'm quite spontaneous and I have people around me, those who support me for even the failures. ठीक है ना, नहीं होगा चलेगा, आजा कर ले, right? That kind of, agar there's a scenario, okay, I am okay. I have people, those who will, fine, okay, if you're not able to do it, it's okay. So I have people around me like that, so I will be able to explore in a manner where I'm less hesitant, right? And where I can be myself, and that helps me develop. Okay, so there are two chances. I can succeed, I can fail. So I always think about the failure first, human nature. Okay, so what I will do is I will think about the failure, I will not think about the success. But coincidentally, I succeed. And the next time if I have to do it, don't worry, I can do that. Right? So that is where you can use your self-confidence, right? So this is a simple trial and error thing that will help you to understand where you can use your self-confidence, right? The next one. Now this is a word web, okay? This is called a leadership word web, and what I want you to do is, for a minute, silently just watch this word web, okay? I want you to pick at least 5 words from this word web that you feel is leadership according to you, okay? 5 words that you feel that is leadership according to you. Just 1 minute time. Have a close look. Creativity, intelligence, power, management, innovation, decisions, role, sincerity, capacity, group, service, honor. What is that you understand or you can correlate leadership with? Think a little bit deeper. Find it out. What words, what thoughts come to your mind when you actually think about leadership? Okay, Once that is done, I want that list to be kept on your side, and then let's take up the next part, that is leadership. What leadership means to you. So apart from that 5 words that you've selected right now, okay, this was not before, right? You already know what is leadership. So what do you actually mean when you say leadership? Leadership for you is decisions to be taken at home. Leadership, according to you, is a decision making in some organization or everyday choice, or probably I would say, leadership is actually taking an initiative. It can be for a social cause. It can be for anything, okay? Leadership into getting into, say, organizing a party, or probably taking an initiative to, take a drive of, awareness for the people surrounding and everything. So what is leadership according to you? Answers will vary. See, the beautiful part about this series is we never know how the results are going to come up, okay? Self-confidence, it can be for everyone who's listening this right now. In the same way, leadership can be into different dimensions. We are not sure what you're going to explore, right? Somebody into leadership for their own caste, somebody leadership for their own society or the residential area that they live, somebody leadership for the college that they're studying, somebody leadership for the organization they're working for, right? So what is leadership to you? First of all, just think about it, okay? Now, where can you take leadership? As an individual, where can you take leadership? Right? कहाँ leadership ले सकते हो? Of course, at places where your strengths prompt you. So this is one step ahead, okay? So first thing that we did was self-analysis, understanding what are my strengths. Then I understand my idea of self-confidence and how it is going to help me, right? Taking one step forward, where this self-confidence can lead to is to make me a leader, right? And where this leadership can be worthwhile. As a person, as a human being, I love spreading joy. I love spreading happiness. So I do it into my fraternity. I do it with my students, right? Spreading joy can be in any different way. It can be through just organizing a small gathering and delivering some useful session, or it can be just gathering for a Navratri Garba. I just take the initiative and it happens. So where can you take leadership, right? You have to think about it and put it on the paper, right? Write it down, because some things written, they really make sense a lot of times, right? So just write it down. Where can you take leadership, right? Now, see, it is again very important to go back and, analyze, right? Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right track? Right? So why it is necessary to have this quality of leadership, right? It's highly essential to have leadership qualities as a human being, right? I'm going to present you some data which is going to make more sense when I have that right in front of you, right? But then as an individual, why do you think that leadership is necessary? See, we all are unique. We all have different potential and we all have a room to grow, right? So places where you actually are good at and you take up the initiative, it is going to be worth. People are going to notice and probably follow that, right? Which in turn is going to create a chain for an improvised, structured, and a better, say, initiative, right? It can be any initiative, as I said. Please don't worry, don't keep it to so many questions on your mind. यहाँ पे या यहाँ पे, ऐसा या वैसा, कुछ नहीं. बस leadership, strength, self-confidence, and how you can progress with it. So you will get n number of places. If you feel, there are a lot of students I get, okay? They say, madam, we are very good at probably managing events, right? Nowadays, it's very, very trendy kind of thing, right? So I organize some get-together for the school reunion. I organize some family functions. I organize, a surprise party for my friends or probably something like that, right? So I do that. So that is taking an initiative, taking leadership, right? And that is how it correlates. It brings up the strengths in you, right? Now, how can you contribute to a better society being a leader, right? Everybody can become a leader, right? And everybody needs to be a leader at certain point of time. I was just traveling a couple of days before, and because of this Navratri season, right, there was a huge traffic on some, it's not a main road actually, but it's quite a lot of people travel on that road, okay? So there was a huge chaos and the traffic. There was one person somewhere around 45, okay? He came from a store and he stood on the crossroads, okay? And he actually stopped the entire traffic. Everybody should go aside. Now then he directed, please go this way, and the other goes that way, and then there is simultaneous traffic for two opposite sides and all. So I knew he was not a traffic police, okay? He was a person who took initiative at that place. Now, you never know who that person is, okay? What is the qualification? What are his strengths? What are his weaknesses? What all about him we never know, right? But each person, right, every single time in life, a person needs to make a choice of taking decision, taking initiative for something that they are good at. Or probably it can be situational, right? Leadership can be situational, it can be organizational, it can be of different kinds, right? But here, leadership, every individual needs to first internalize that at a given time, if I am supposed to contribute to the society, I will take the leadership. That is the place. It can be from a lowest scale of managing a group of 5 people to being a political leader also, any given thing, right? And that develops with self-confidence and understanding and internalizing leadership, right? So the next is a beautiful survey. This survey is done by World Economic Forum, which shows up 16 skills which are necessary for every individual in the 21st century, right? Now, see, as I said in the beginning, we are in the concept era. These concepts can be developed. So every given thing mentioned on this list can either be understood and developed, or they are found. They are there within you and you find it, right? So the purple ones, that is the foundational literacies, are taught at your school and college, right? Literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, information, communication and technology, right? Then we have financial literacy, cultural and civic literacy. Everything is taught at your schools and your colleges, right? The next one is competencies. At times, they are done through co-curricular and say non-academic activities at schools and colleges. But these competencies are more taken into, say, surrounding. You learn it from your surrounding, like critical thinking, creativity, communication, collaboration, right? They are done at school, but they are not taught as a subject, right? They are taught in the form of non-academic scenarios or co-curricular activities, right? So competencies, they are built in individuals of today just to ensure that you are future ready. You should be ready for the 21st century, which has got a long way to go, right? Now, what is important today is the character qualities, right? See, this is not taught. This cannot be explained via school, college curriculums, right? It is self-built. It is something which a student, a learner needs to internalize, right? They can be something natural, they may not be natural to you, right? So then you need to develop these character qualities. By all means can be brought up into every single individual through different tricks, techniques, activities, seminars, workshops and all, right? So our motive for this workshop is to address these character qualities for you so that you are through with the actual study which is done by World Economic Forum, which is by large, for every human being, right, to be ready for the 21st century, right? And the character qualities is curiosity. Everybody needs to understand. Everybody needs to build up questions and get answers to it, right? That is why today's era is the conceptual era, right? The next thing it says is initiative, right? Initiative for anything that you feel is worth, right? You must take an initiative or you be a part of that initiative. Then comes persistence and grit, right? You should be able to have that mold, coping mechanism to different things, and you must understand that there are changes and changes will happen. So it's okay, right? It's okay to fail. It's okay to accept after a while. It's okay to immediately accept and then raise questions about it. But you be persistent, right? The next one is adaptability. Adaptability, again, a very big thing you must understand. We all lack adaptability at certain point, right? We feel यार ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता है, right? And जब ऐसे थोड़ी ना आता है is where you are less adaptive to different things, right? So have that open mindset, have that subtle behavior, or let your mind engage into that kind of situations where it's okay, ये हुआ ना, ठीक है, ऐसा भी हो जाएगा, right? You will find out ways for things that you want to happen, but then want to happen, you will have to consciously make an effort, right? There was a beautiful reel, I suppose, right? I watched in a reel of Guru Gopal Das, right? So he said, right things never happen, right? You have to make them happen, right? things that are not so good, or probably things that are not very effective for individuals' life, they happen, right? And it's humorous that he gave certain examples of things that happen on their own, right? But you have to make the right things happen in your life, and that is where you have to be adaptable to, right? The next one is something that I am here for today, is leadership. Leadership, character quality is the title today, right? So character quality and leadership into that character quality is actually understanding that leadership can be situational. It can be for different places. It can be for a specific period of time. It can be limited, but still a leadership as a character quality should be there in an individual. When you talk about situational, it can be affected by the surrounding, but as a character quality, it will affect you inside yourself, right? That I can bring myself up to something and I can take the initiative or not, right? So leadership, please ensure that you have this idea on your mind every single time you be somewhere. Okay. The last of it is social and cultural awareness, right? I am completely grounded to my social and cultural structure, right? I really like the culture where I belong, and I admire it to my core, right? So it is, or rather it happens only when you have that why questioning every single time. Why festivals? Why this kind of cloth? Why this kind of food? Why certain rituals? When you have the why and your why is satisfied. See, I'm telling you, I am one blessed human being who has got right people to ensure that I understand my why and I get the answer to my why very, very well. Right? It can be through elders, it can be through friends, it can be even through students at times. Madam, ye aisa kyun hota hai? Because I keep on asking questions to the students as well. At times they also, check, and there's an interchange of knowledge at times, right? And they tell me, right, why certain things happen, right? So that actually is required, right, for every other person, for every individual. It is something that I feel it is very, very necessary, right? To have a social and cultural awareness is something that leads you to progress, and that progress can be through a platform, right? We a lot of times compare developed countries with ourselves as a developing country. Unke paas to ye sari cheezein hai, right? I personally feel that is not right. Why? Because we actually had a lot of things before. It's just we are not aware about it. So make yourself aware and you'll feel okay. I'm sorted. I'm done. Right? I can work on these aspects and I can still move forward and I can be better. Right? And that gives you a sense of leadership, a sense of taking initiative, a sense of being responsible, accountable for every act that you perform, and you perform it very well, right? So you excel, right? So personal benefit is excel, and then there is a larger benefit to the society as well, right? Now, leadership. Now, I've been talking about this part quite since a long time, but then this happens to be the core of the essence of what I want you to develop is, leadership can be for guidance. It can be for just showing the way, right? That can you do it this way? It can be in this form of a simple question, right? So guidance not necessarily बेटा आप ऐसा कर लो, बेटा आप वैसा कर लो, नहीं, ज़रूरत नहीं है, right? Guidance can be a simple question to an individual. Can you explore this area, right? That can be leadership for guidance. The next one is leadership for solutions, right? So you come across a situation where there is a problem, and somehow you are a part of that place, and you understand that this requires a solution, and you offer that solution, right? So probably there is an acknowledgement, there is not, that's okay, right? But then internally you know that you took the leadership, you had the character quality of finding a solution, right? Now that is a wow factor. That is something which will matter every single time you take up that kind of a thought process. The third is the vision. See, not all have that kind of vision, right? So leadership and leadership for a vision, that means taking people to some direction, taking people to some place which is probably unexplored, but it can be a step ahead than what you are today, right? It is in the benefit of all, right? So the motive should be progress, right? So then having a vision is something which leadership will have as a close connection into it, right? The fourth of it is the leadership for teamwork, right? A lot of us have that, individuality, right? Now, individuality as in I did it, and so I will show that I did it, all right? There are a lot of people who are of a different breed who will say, हमने किया है यार. It's not just me. All of us have done it. Now, leadership is about we did it, right? It is never about I did it, right? So leadership actually brings that, you have to dilute yourself to make yourself, okay, your presence is found, but that presence may not be acknowledged. That's okay, right? So you have to dilute yourself from I to we. That is the teamwork, leadership in teamwork, right? The next on the list we have is the direction. Now, this is very much strategic. It has got a lot to do with business. It has a lot to do with finding a company and directing people for what you have the vision, right? Now, vision is actually a very vague concept, okay? But this vague can have ways, multiple ways you can direct it, right? So first thing is to have that big vision, right? Once you have that vision, you will have different directions to reach that vision, okay? Now, these directions, they can be creative, right? They can be from different places to different people to different acts to difference of, a lot of other opinions as well, right? So directions and leadership, they are again close-knit combination, because leadership will require at times I am the visionary, right? And then the visionary himself has to find out the directions. अच्छा ऐसे भी कर सकते हो, ऐसे भी कर सकते हो, because people may not be able to reach that level, ठीक है? तो हर कोई नहीं कर सकता है, पर हर कोई कहीं ना कहीं आके तो ये कर ही सकता है, right? Initially probably you will feel कि ठीक है, हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है, fine. But then probably when it comes to your play area, you will be able to take one step forward and you will be able to do it fantabulously. Right? So leadership and directions, again a close-knit combination. And then comes the next, and the next is the leadership for strategy. Right? Leadership for strategy is actually about the how behind the direction. Okay, so one after the other it will follow, right? How some things you will be able to do it, that is strategy, right? Now leadership and making it strategically is actually is having that rules and that combinations and a lot of other plannings into it, right? Ideally leadership will be a mind map that you're structuring, right, to reach at certain levels, to reach at certain goals, right? If this, then this, if not, then this. So you should always have a plan A, B, C, or maybe A, B, C, D, E, F, G, whatever, right, on your mind. But it is very clear that I will not miss on the strategies, the directions, and the vision, right? Ultimately leadership is actually giving yourself that vision that I can take charge of myself and people around me, right? If required, I will take them also and I will move forward. So it's about progression, right? But these progression may or may not happen at one point or individually. It can be in group, right? So again, strategy, a very close-knit combination for leadership. The next on the list, or the second last on the list, is communication, right? Now leadership is all about responsibility and accountability, right? So communication with people is something which will happen, right? Which has to happen. A leader cannot be silent. A person who has a vision cannot be silent about what he or she wants, right? So I want this, right? You say it once, twice, thrice, a number of times. You have to go on repeating. It's kind of a chant that you have to do, right? Chant matlab mala karvi, right? Kind of japna, right? Japna bhi padega usko constantly. I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, right? And the people might feel that the person has gone crazy, right? Usko uske alawa kuch dikhta hi nahi hai, right? That level of dedication will, as a leader, if you have, right, you will be able to communicate more often with people about what you want, and then it will be directed. They will have different questions, there will be simple solutions, there will be complex things that you have to handle, but all that will be a part of communication, right? And this communication is not just a communication wherein you are putting yourself to something that, you know, which will be about finding faults, or maybe you are talking about certain issues, right? It will be if something has happened or if there is a problem, that's okay, right? So that's okay comes from self-confidence, comes from leadership, right? So first, when you internalize that change, adaptability, flexibility is common to you. You are ready to trial and error. You are ready to explore. You are ready to accept and learn the failures and then to succeed. You will definitely make a leadership through and through, and you will have your communication as a tool for leadership. Communication seems very simple tool, and क्या करना है, बात करना है, बताना है, mail करना है, okay, done. No, that is not communication. Communication is actually putting your ideas to that detail, right? I really love watching movies, okay? everything is fictional. Everything is fictional. And that fiction is so detailed, right? Think of the movie Bahubali, right? One movie that I admire, right? Right from the plotting to the storyline, to the characters, to the makeup, to the style it will carry, to the expressions, everything is detailed. Everything is so well communicated that it makes the entire movie a great success, right? So when movies succeed, I actually feel communication has been very successful in that. People understand the essence of it. People, though they get the joy of it, there are a lot of movies that have a lot of takeaways, right? Three Idiots to be an example, right? A takeaway into every plot, every part of the scene it has, right? It has got something very nice to absorb, and everything very well presented, right? So see, that is the power of communication, right? And communication in leadership and communication, when they combine, right, they actually deliver brilliant results. Simple examples, movies, right? The last one on the leadership is the goal setting, right? And accomplishing the goals as well, right? So goal setting for us is a very simple task. मुझे ये करना है, right? Now, probably it does not happen as easy as it is, as I've said, right? Because I had a teacher, right, who used to say this, and this is a saying in Gujarati, right? It says, માણસ ધારે તે બધું જ કરી શકે છે. માણસ ધારે તે બધું જ કરી શકે છે, પણ શું ધારવું ને એ નથી ધારી શકતો. Right? It is very important to have goals, right? Goal setting in itself is a huge topic, right? Goal setting is, I mean, if you hear a lot about into quotes and everything, set those goals which scare you, right? Which you're afraid of, and you accomplish it, and then it gives a next level of confidence and boost, and it gives joy to yourself and everything, right? But into leadership, when you are a leading person, into yourself first, your goal setting should be understanding your strengths and then your weaknesses as well. So when you are aware of the place which needs a room for work, right, you are definitely going to have a goal setting. Okay, 2 years down the line, I am going to be fairly good at yoga, so that I don't have to say the next time yoga tujhse nahi hoga, right? That is goal setting, right? Accomplishing that goals is going to work in both the ways, self-confidence and decision making, right? So two-way line it is going to affect, and it is going to be a sense where you feel that your leadership skills have given you the results, the desired results, right? So setting of goals and accomplishing them, right? A lot of us, are brilliant at the start, right? I am no exception to it, right? Very good at starting, and then certainly some things come up, and oh no, right? I feel nahi yaar, chhod do, ab nahi karna hai. That is not leadership, right? वो छोड़ दो या ऐसा चल जाएगा. That is not leadership. Leadership means setting the goal and accomplishing the goal to the best of its possibility, right? The best of its possibility is something, the bottom line is what you have set, and something better is the best of its possibility. Okay, right? अच्छा मैंने किया तो सही, वो किया तो सही is an excuse, right? So we will not fall into that excuses. We will actually work on something really concrete when we have to do this leadership as a skill, right? When you take it as a skill, it will definitely give a boost to your character quality, right? See, it's one by one step, right? Once you understand it as a concept, then you develop it as a skill, then you put it into your character quality. Now, character quality, that means acknowledging it yourself, right? That I am able to do this. Wow, right? Very less people, right, are able to take that charge and say that, don't worry, Baba, I am there and I will be able to do it. You forget the rest, right? So that happens very less, right? And nowadays people, when they are more into 9 to 5 job and all, maru kaam nathi, mera kaam nahi hai, right? Not my job, simply, right? So that is not a part of or a sense of leadership in yourself as a character quality. So it is very essential to have that leadership as a character quality, and then you take up it to the next level, right? Now we have a very widespread, I would say, डेटा नहीं, पर इसको सर्वे बोलेंगे, right? This survey says that leadership starts with the right mindset, right? See, बहुत सारा, I am fond of this quotes kind of things, okay? So quotes में ये लोग बहुत बोलते हैं, everything is in the mind, and I feel, wow, if everything is in the mind, why not explore it, right? So see, this character qualities will naturally come to you only when you are in the growth mindset. When you know that I have to learn something, when you know that I am good at something, you will have the room for development, right? If I start believing nothing is better than what I am today, I am not in the right mindset, right? I need to cultivate first the right mindset. I need to come across that experiences where I feel, that I have a room for development over here. I have a room for development over here. Now, this is going to happen only with experiences, right? So never ever feel कि नहीं हम अपने comfort zone में सही हैं, right? It's not there, right? कंफर्ट जोन अगर तुम्हारा इतना है तो उसको थोड़ा इंक्रीज करने की ट्राई करो, राइट? लाइक if I have a 1 BHK home, I will aim for a 2, I will aim for a 3 probably the next time I feel that I want to buy a house, right? So this is how we grow, okay? So whatever is your comfort zone, make more for yourself, right? So make a room for yourself for a more comfortable comfort zone, right? And that will happen through experiences, right? So growth mindset, right mindset is highly essential. If you look at the data given to you, there are competencies on one side. There are 4 competencies: critical thinking, creativity, communication, and collaboration, which you require, right? And there are certain character qualities which we have discussed in detail when we had that World Economic Forum's data, right? Now, it is important to understand how to teach that skills, okay? As a trainer, I personally feel that it's very difficult to make people understand that it is required and it will come through bad experiences, right? Beta ye karna padega. You will have to make a lot of mistakes, right? As an ESL trainer, when I have students for IELTS, TOEFL, PTE, what happens is students come and say, ma'am, ye maine likha, right? And ये मुझसे नहीं हो रहा, right? वो जो नहीं हो रहा है, right, is the hesitation to put their thoughts forward, right? And then I speak out. Did you want to write like this? Or probably did you want to say like this? Yes. Right? So that is their general expression. 𝐒𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐻𝐿 madam. Right? Pardon my mix of language, because this is something I encounter every single day. Right? મારે આવું જ કહેવું તું madam. But હું કહી ના શક્યો. Right? So ના કહી શક્યો is because that part needs a room for development. Right? That area needs. So your communication needs a room for development, and you must understand that. And you create that, area in such a scenario that, probably you are allowed to, the first talk that we had, when I am comfortable with people, those who will say chalo ho jayega, right? So that will make us more comfortable and will be able to do it. So for this also the same thing follows, is here you have to make yourself into that environment where you feel that faltering is okay, right? And I will be able to deal with it, and that is how it goes. So failures, mistakes, problems, or probably bad experiences, or things that I feel that I did not want to encounter, face it, right? Let it happen. And let it happen, more of it happens with a smile, right? When you falter, actually, right, you'll feel, I thought of it, right, and still I was not able to do it. Finally, chalo ho gaya. Right? Now the next time you know where you have to work upon, right? And that is how sportingly, in a positive environment, you are able to have a room, more of comfort zone, and you grow yourself, right? So how do I cultivate leadership mindset? अच्छा, ये सबसे बड़ा problem है, right? मैडम आप बहुत बातें करते हो, right? I have people telling me, मैडम आपको ऐसे ही बताने को कुछ भी बोल दिया, आप चुप नहीं बैठोगे, right? So how do we cultivate this kind of a mindset is again a big problem, right? Why a big problem? Because you tell कि हाँ ये cultivate करना चाहिए, ऐसा होना चाहिए, पर कैसे? Right? We don't encounter things like this on every single day, right? So how can we do it? So leaders must cultivate a growth mindset, while a fixed mindset is one that is resistant, closed, or it does not accept new information, right? So you see the challenges as opportunities, and you don't see them as the problems you encounter in your everyday, right? So first thing that you do is you have curiosity, right? Curiosity for every little thing, right? ये कहाँ हो रहा है, कब, क्यों, मैं क्यों नहीं, right? And इससे क्या होगा, इससे क्या मिलेगा? Kind of that level of curiosity when you have a lot of questions to ask, and you have either the access to information that you can find out, or you have people, those who can explain you, right? Both the ways, any which case, your curiosity is satisfied. That is having the right place for leadership, right? And the next one is having resilience, right? Most of us don't find constant and rapid changes easy to deal with, right? कुछ भी change होता है, even the simplest of the simple. मेरा आज session 10 बजे था, right? 11 बजे, ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है, right? Then probably मेरा आज class था 3 बजे, right? Generally 4 बजे होता है, ऐसे थोड़ी ना होता है, right? Every day buses come to pick, आज बस नहीं आ रही, ऐसा थोड़ी ना होता है, right? Resilience, there is we don't find changes, or we don't find so many things being together as okay to deal with, right? The reason behind that is we love conditioned things, right? Earlier as a child I never loved it, okay? ये क्या रोज सुबह उठ के तैयार होके स्कूल जाना, वापस आना, खाना खाना, सो जाना, होमवर्क करना, पढ़ाई करना, राइट, देन प्रॉब्ली एक आध घंटे खेलने जाना, आना, खाना, सो जाना, राइट, और क्या, right? So it's so boring to have that routine. So as a child I never liked it, right? But as I grew up I feel routine is good, right? This routine helps me to understand, अच्छा इसके बाद ये होने वाला है, इसके बाद ये करने वाला है, इसके बाद ये है, right? So I am okay with the routine, so I don't like changes, right? What happens when you develop that resilience, when you develop that acceptability to change, you always are engaged into managing certain things in different ways. You creatively start thinking about it and people don't like it, right? And that don't like is only because उसके लिए थोड़ा extra काम करना पड़ता है. That थोड़ा extra is making yourself as a leader character, right? So this is something that I personally feel that everybody should understand and absorb, that you should be resilient to change, right? The next one is, how do I cultivate leadership mindset with we mentality? So you have to dilute yourself, as I said, right? You have to dilute from I to we, right? Kind of mindset that goes beyond collaboration across the teams. Leaders need to build bridges and lead beyond their own functions, units, and borders, right? Leaders cannot say this is not my job. Everything is my job, yeah? Everything I will be a part of it. I'll be able to do it, right? Of course, you need to set boundaries, that these are certain things that I will handle. These are certain things that I expect you to handle. But that communication should be there, right? That is actually a part of leadership with we mentality. When you recognize the other person with their strengths, right? See, everybody into we mentality, right? Somebody is good at talking to strangers, so please you handle people with like that. Okay, somebody is very good with the functional processes and administration and everything. Okay, you handle that, that's okay, right? Every part of every work, every business, every organization is very, very important, right? So once you realize your own strengths and you also recognize yourself as a team, right? The we mentality actually talks about understanding people with different strengths, right? There it is strengths, it is not designation. See, they are two different things, right? So it's not about designation. Designation can be higher or lower, but then we as an individual, we all have our positives and negatives which help us to bind together and work as a team, right? So leaders have to be of we mentality. You should acknowledge, yaar, ye tu bada acha kar leta hai, right? So you work on this. Instead, places where you feel troubled, like this and this, probably technology is something where you will require my help, I will handle it, right? Probably documentation is the place where you require my help, I will handle it, you don't worry about it, right? That is collaboration. That is the we mentality that every leader needs to understand and work upon, right? The last on the list is the flexibility, right? Flexibility is, again, it comes with time and it comes with a lot of things that you do it on your own, right? Flexibility actually talks not just bending flexibility, okay? Flexibility with timings, flexibility with situations, flexibility with different encounters of different people, flexibility, still working towards one vision, one goal strategically, right? That is talking about leadership, right? So when we have that flexibility in ourselves, when we have that flexibility with people around, right, even others will feel comfortable for us taking charge of certain things, right? So it is not just one place, it is vice versa, right? You vice versa engage into different activities, into different jobs, into work, into different scenarios, and you take up the charge for things that you are good at and you can work the best than the others, right? Of course, there can be room for exploration for all, right? But then their we mentality is going to help you a lot, right? So this is the fundamental 4 things that you need to do for having that leadership quality in you. The first one, chalo fatafat. The first one is curiosity, right? The second one is resilience. The third one is the we mentality, and the fourth one is flexibility, right? So 4 different qualities that will help you to develop leadership character qualities in you, right? Let's move on to the next part. I have a small game here, okay? On the screen now will be presented a kind of option to you, okay? You have to select this or that, right? So would you rather meet your great-grandparents or meet your great-grandchildren? Would you rather have more time or would you rather have more money? Would you have a life rewind button or you will have a life pause button, right? See, these questions are choices that you're making, okay? Now, see, what happens at the end of the choice is actually very important, okay? So please do this activity right away, right? इसमें मत रोको खुद को. Please do this, right? So would you know all the languages of the world or would you speak with animals? Would you rather go where no one shows up to you would you accept that no one shows up to your wedding or no one shows up to your funeral, right? What is your choice? What would you prefer? Very vague questions, I know, right? But these vague questions are very, very important when it comes to building yourself from within, right? Would you rather stuck in an elevator or on a ski lift? Would you go to a dinner alone or would you go to a concert alone? Would you have a world peace or stop world hunger? So what is important, right? So go skydiving or you go bungee jumping, be an adult your whole life or be a kid your whole life. You go on a vacation with friends or you go on a vacation with spouse. You have a side of salad or you have a side of soup. You get brand new house or you have a brand new car, right? So this or that, decide, right? Now, take one more moment. Think why? Why this choice? Right? Now, this why is actually going to help you understand yourself better. Right? There are certain things about ourselves we also feel, okay, I never knew this, but now I'm able to understand, I'm able to correlate, I'm able to know myself better. Right? So, weird questions out of nowhere probably, right? But then They will make sense when you start understanding why. How would you react to it? How would you make it possible? Or how does it affect you? Right? So the why, the how, the what of everything that you think about this would you rather, right, is actually going to help you understand your qualities and then connect the dots. See, right mindset पता है? हाँ. कल्टिवेट कैसे करना पता है? हाँ. लीडरशिप क्या है पता है? हाँ. कहाँ से आता है पता है? हाँ. राइट. बट फिर भी हम जो चाहते हैं वो हम कर नहीं पाते, तो right? So now we are taking it one step forward. We are putting ourselves to everyday situations, right? So that is going to join the dots of your thought process, your actual being to the actual life that you are living, right? So it will help you to join the dots. It will help you to understand how you naturally react to something. How do you react to certain things, when you have that environment or when you think about it. Okay, and that probably is actually a way which will connect yourself to internally yourself and externally others, right? So it's a very important part of say decision making process. So that is the next part of what we are going to talk today, right? So the next on the part is decision making, right? So self-confidence, leadership, now to decision making, right? Decision making, again, a required skill for 21st century, right? It is very important for every human being to take decisions in your life in any given time, right? So it is a big talk, right? Decision making is a huge talk that you have to do, right? And let us first understand, how many decisions do we take in a day? 1, 2, 5, 10, 20. Every single thing we do, every single act we have has got a decision behind, right? Single thing we have comes with a choice. Okay, खाने में दाल चावल सब्जी रोटी सब है, right? मैंने सिर्फ सब्जी रोटी खाया, my choice, my decision, right? Simple, single decision, right? Now मैंने ऐसा क्यों किया वो मुझे पता है, राइट? मैंने ऐसा इसलिए किया शायद क्योंकि मुझे पता है कि दाल चावल खाने से मुझे नींद आती है, राइट? एंड आई हैव अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट सेमिनार टू कंडक्ट post lunch. Oh no dal chawal, right? So that is simple decision and the reason behind it, right? In the same way, decisions can be simple. Decisions can be an everyday choice, but then that decision will actually help you build up the character qualities in you, right? So decision making is a huge concept that is going to continue actually for you people, those who are watching. It is going to continue for you for all 3 days of this series, right? So tomorrow also you will have some part of decision making, probably in some other dimension, right? And then on 6th of October, you have again a part of decision making, leadership, and self-confidence to be addressed, right? Okay. So decision making is something that is required for every single individual, and it comes from, say, a conscious effort of working towards something, to taking charge of something, or taking an initiative, right? So as such, decision making for us is not so difficult. ओके, नेचुरली होता है यार डिसीजन. आप बता रहे हो खाने का चॉइस या कपड़े पहनने का चॉइस, ठीक है ना? इट्स सिंपल, नो बिग डिसीजन, राइट? बट चूजिंग अ करियर, चूजिंग अ लाइफ पार्टनर, taking a decision of studying in certain university, college, or certain place. Big decisions, right? They actually turn around, right? The entire way your journey is, right? Decision making is right from the smallest of the small thing to the biggest of the big things that happen, right? Wars, world peace, environment, everything has got some decisions behind. Environment as in the saving and as in the polluting as well, right? Everything has a part of decision making involved, right? And the people involved into it take an everyday choice and everyday decision for that place, right? So some decisions can be very frequent, very common, it's okay, right? Some decisions are life-changing. Some decisions are actually, changing for an entire scenario, right? When I talk about decision making and changing scenarios, I'm actually reminded of demonetization time in India, right? Our beloved Narendra Modi gives a speech that certain money will not work from so and so time, and that's it. Oh my God, you remember, you recollect that, right? What a time it was, right? Everybody is going on finding, अरे यार कितने नोट हैं, गिनो यार, घूमो फिरो, please change करो, right? And that stuff is a part of decision. Of course, there had been a huge thought process behind, and it has been it's been a very, very good thing, and I appreciate that. But then decision making, what I am talking about, is something that is a part of say changing scenarios, right? So how much it can affect, right? So it's a huge effect when anybody, any single person or a group of person takes a decision for something, right? Now, if we compare skill sets required in 2015 and 2020, right? So there has been it's a huge difference, right? And I would want to share that with you, a huge difference. There are top 10 skills required for, say, top 10 skills required in 2015 were so different than top 10 skills required in 2020. Now, if you look at the list, we have in 2015, there was complex problem solving as a major portion into, say, this skill sets, okay? And it ranged from complex problem solving to, say, critical thinking, managing people, judgments and decision involvements, right? To a very, very crisp, I would say, change into, say, creativity, negotiation. Then we have emotional intelligence, coordination, and decision making being among the, say, top 10 list, right? It's about understanding the judgment and decision making, right? So a comparison is very clear that with time, right? Earlier it used to be, say, decade, or probably in 2 decades there would be certain requirement and there should be a change, right? But the world has changed in, even if we can just say that, right? The world has changed in past 2 years also, right? It has changed to a huge extent, right? And that is because of the changing scenarios. And this changing scenarios was predicted by World Economic Forum in probably 2000 itself, right? So it named this era, this 21st century to be the conceptual century, for everything is based on a concept. Everything is based on something that is idea, and that idea can be developed. It can be internalized, it can be expressed, it can be utilized for human beings for progress, right? So decision making, a part of that progressive I would say strategy or progressive dimension, right? It is one quality that you will have to somehow imbibe in yourself. You have to internalize it, and you have to internalize that very consciously. Okay, that conscious effort is required for so many reasons, right? Because now it does not say that इससे अच्छा होगा या बुरा होगा. हर एक चीज से अच्छा और बुरा दोनों होगा, और you are responsible for that, right? It is that simple, and that is about the conceptual era, which has been very unique, that you own both the pros and cons. You own both the success and the failure. You own both the positives and negatives for any development. The important part is you should be progressive, you should be developing, right? So the next I am going to talk about is actually a kind of scenario. Okay, human race has seen more social and technological changes in the past 2 decades than in previous centuries combined, राइट 19th और 20th सेंचुरी को कंबाइन करके जितना सारा ज़्यादा टेक्नोलॉजिकल एंड सोशल चेंज नहीं हुआ है, उतना चेंज ये पिछले 20 साल में हो गया है. थिंग्स आर चेंजिंग सो फास्ट दैट वी बेयरली हैव टाइम टू स्टडी आवरसेल्व्स आफ्टर वन टेक्नोलॉजिकल वेव बिफोर अनदर वॉशेस अप ऑन द डेक एंड स्वीप्स ऑफ द फीट अगेन, राइट? टेक्नोलॉजी इज वेरी वेरी क्विकली मूविंग. It is easy to see why this is happening when we look at technological developments in the historical terms. Older technologies like phones, cars, were adopted by consumers gradually and over the time, sometimes over the decades. But now we see that newer technologies like cell phones, social media spread seemingly overnight. Anything can go viral, right? Taking almost no time from invention to universal use. Everybody, right? I remember from landline phones, I have seen the transition, okay, from landline phones to that we cordless calls, okay, cordless phones, to pagers, to mobile phones, to smartphones today, right? All changes are something in, say, I am 37, so 37 years, everything has changed. Landline हो गया, cordless phone हो गया, pager हो गया, वो small that mobile phones हो गया, then to smartphones, and in smartphones now we have a series, right? Series from, say, Android to iPhone to I don't know what next, right? What next it is going to bring, we never know, right? So talking about it in detail is today each technology that scales with bewildering speed is no longer an adoption curve, it is an adoption rocket. Everything it has, it can absorb and bring it back. With AI, genetic engineering and robotics on the anvil, this pace is unlikely to let up anytime soon. It is disrupting political, economic, and social systems as well. Cultural norms and social rules. It is also taking a toll on each one of us psychologically and emotionally, right? So it is there, right? Now, this causes disruption, okay? Disruption in business, education, and everyday life, everywhere, okay? From why this is happening to me to analysis of the situation like we do it in grammar, right? For different opportunity of seeing things in parts and pieces, right? Every single thing in different cubes, if we look at, right, we understand that education and business and everyday life has got a lot of disruption into it, right? As an educator, I have seen, there is a huge stockpile of technologies into our schools, right? We started with that small PC, right? Then we had that floppy disk. Then we had CDs. Then we have direct internet connections and the world flows now, right? So we have the smart boards in the class. So not just the chalkboards, we also have the smart boards in the class. So every technology has affected education, the way education is actually absorbed. I wouldn't say it is taught and learned, it is absorbed, right? For us, for teachers, it's like how we convey the learning, how we convey the knowledge, facts and certain things to students, and how students absorb them, right? So it's been a huge transition, and in business, if you look at, right? So there is one example, right, over here that I've mentioned is during a car ride, that is a Lyft, like Uber in New York, they have Lyft, right? Manhattan, I learned from a driver that one of his friends is actually filing a personal bankruptcy because he acquired 2 New York City cab medallions for $800,000, okay, about a decade ago. And now, with ride-share services gaining popularity, the medallions are worth a fraction of the price he paid, right? So, in business, how disruption is happening, right? It is a huge part of understanding when you are into a lot of decision making, right? This is helping us understand that forces of disruption and the need for us to recast our political, educational, economical systems to absorb, right, into being a part of change is highly essential. Creating change in one dimension is really a tough time, okay? Imagine doing in multiple dimensions, right? Everybody has to suffer, everybody has to face the transition, right? If we don't change ourselves, it will be impossible to change the system, the institution, the governing bodies, and everybody enabling us, right? And to have that change, to have that rapid learning, rapid execution, and to stay at mark with the word, right? We need to understand that disruption will happen, and it is a huge part of decision making and involvement of people into that decision making, right? Now I have a small test for you, okay? Now, to give this test, okay, I want you to also give yourself a mark for it, okay? So, there are 3 categories. If you agree to a statement, you will give yourself a 3 mark. If you do not agree to a statement, simply just, I don't agree, that kind of, okay? Give yourself a 2 mark, okay? And if you strongly disagree, nahi, ye nahi hona chahiye, in that case, you give yourself 1 mark, okay? Now, this is a simple test. आपको कुछ अभी लिखना नहीं है, आपको बस खुद को मार्क देना है. Right? We can do that? Great. So the first question is, it is important that I attend every detail. For anything I do, I ensure that I know every detail of it. So if you agree, yes, I am like that, you will give yourself a 3 mark. If you feel, okay, I disagree, पता है तो भी ठीक है, नहीं पता है तो भी I don't mind, I prefer कि मुझे पता हो, but अगर नहीं पता है I don't mind much, right? So then you give yourself a 2 mark, right? And I least bothered, I don't want to know details, I know that I want to do this and I will do it in my own way, right? That is 1 mark, right? It is absolutely okay to have any of the 3 scenarios, okay? Right? क्योंकि तीनों के अलग अलग फायदे हैं, right? It is a kind of win-win situation in every condition. Okay, so don't worry if you feel कि यार ऐसा कैसे सोच सकते हैं, हर कोई ऐसा नहीं होता है, everybody can think different, we are all people with different brains, right? So we can do that. So the first thing that you have to do is, it is important that I attend every detail. 3, 2, 1, give yourself a mark, ठीक है? The next is, I accept nothing less than perfection. I want everything perfect. I accept nothing less than perfection. 3, 2, 1. You have to give yourself a mark. Okay? You know the criteria. Then, work isn't finished until I work out every detail with due diligence. Work is not complete even if somebody has done it, right? It will not be considered as complete till I work out on every detail of it with due diligence, right? If you feel that, 3, 2, 1, mark yourself, right? Then, rules are not meant to be broken. Rules are not, bold letters, not meant to be broken. 3, 2, 1. Next, I work best when my goals and solutions are clear. I work the best when my goals and solutions are clear. Right? I am not very spontaneous, or probably I am not something like this, right? So whatever it is, the simple question is, I work the best when I am clear with the solutions and goals. 3, 2, 1. Okay? The 6th one is, stability and clarity are the keys of successful career. Stable, one place, right? Clarity, I want to do this, and that's it, right? That is stability and clarity, right? Is something very important for success. 3, 2, 1, right? The next one is, flexibility leads to mistakes. Flexibility leads to mistakes. 3, 2, 1. Okay? Next, I always try to achieve certainty so that work is done correctly. Nothing prompt. Right? Certain. Everything is planned. Everything is certain. Right? So I will always work for certainty so that there are no things that come on my way. Right? The second last is, my decisions without full information are bad. A very negative statement, but you have to still rate. I agree that my decisions become bad when I have no preparations. Okay? My decisions are bad at times. Right? So that gives 2. And no, it's not like that. I am ready to explore. So give yourself 1. Okay? So strongly disagree, you give yourself 1. Right? Then, it is important to achieve a stable and reliable work environment. Stable and reliable work environment. Right? It is important to achieve that. Agree? 3. Disagree. 2. Strongly disagree. 1. Okay? Now, I've given 10 questions to you and you have marked yourself, right? Now, total it. You don't have to share, you don't have to tell it to anybody, this is for you, okay? Now, I will give you, as I said, it's a win-win situation, okay? It is nowhere कि ये अच्छा है और ये बुरा है. Right? Everything has its own pros and cons, and here comes the pros. If your mark is 10 to 20, अगर आपने सब में एक एक भी दिया है तो 10 marks तो होगा. Yes. So if your mark is from 10 to 20, your learning agility, right? Your learning agility is high. You are prone to develop more of potential within yourself, right? And if your marking is 21 to 30, if you have given highest is 3, so 3, 3, 3, 3, if you have given every single place, it is 30, right? So highest mark is 30. So 21 to 30, if it is your marking, right? Your developing capacity for leadership into others is higher, right? So you already at some place, you already have some part of leadership qualities developed in you, and you are now ready to develop in others also, right? So wow, what a win-win situation. And at first place, you have a learning agility, and your learning agility actually is a benefit to yourself and to the society as well, right? The next is your learning agility is with due diligence and dutiful. So you are now moving on to the next part, that is you offer it to the world, you offer it to the people that you know. Now, why ये क्यों किया हमने, right? It's very important, the why factor, right? मेरे लिए तो बहुत important, right? So why we did this is because we are supposed to talk about learning agility now, right? There are 3 key skills that you should develop for decision making in yourself, right? And the first of decision making key skill is learning agility, right? So it's very, very important for you to present your learning agility in a higher form, right? In a higher form, as in you should be adaptive to different things, you should be able to absorb, right? Learn, unlearn, focus, redirect, refocus, and get desired results, right? So learning agility is willingness to learn and apply that learning effectively to prevail unfamiliar situations, right? It actually correlates you to curiosity also, one part of leadership that we did before, right? So that is essential. That is something that should come into you very naturally, right? When you are consciously moving towards self-confidence, leadership, and then decision making, right? The next is yes, when we evolve, when we are into the process of evolving, right, we end up, with difficult concepts like, resistance, or stoppage towards adaptiveness or evolving or excellence, right? Alvin Toffler has beautifully said that the illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn, right? So you should develop learning agility by being curious, by exploring and reflecting, right? You should reflect more. More of reflecting will give you more of awareness, and probably you see it as a failure and a learning as well. The next one is resilience. Resilience means adaptability, flexibility, and learning, right? Resilience is a combination, right? You see that small triangle between the three circles? That is a place of resilience where you have equal amount of adaptability, flexibility, and learning presented. Resilience is the quality that enables you to bounce back when life has knocked you down, right? So, see, it's important to get up from something that you have seen it as a learning, right? And see, in a disruptive world, coping mechanism with stress and catastrophe is vital, right? Resilience is important in personal life and in business also. So anywhere you go, so personal life and workplace, anywhere you go, resilience is highly important. Now, how will you develop this resilience? You can practice cognitive reframing. ऐसा होगा तो ऐसा होगा, ऐसा नहीं होगा तो we will work it out some other way, right? That readiness is coping mechanism, is the involvement of yourself into redirection to something which needs desired result. Okay? Avoid the victimization mindset. मेरे साथ हमेशा ऐसा होता रहता है, right? This should never come, never, right? मेरे साथ ही क्यों, right? बेचारी, that बेचारा वाला feeling that, you know, that victim card, never play that, right? इसने मेरे साथ ऐसा किया, ऐसा हुआ इसीलिए ऐसा हुआ. Avoid. उससे कुछ नहीं होता है, right? Resilience never comes from that place. इसने ऐसा किया, उसने ऐसा किया, जिसने जैसा किया वैसा. Were you not prepared to move on? Simple, right? जो भी हुआ है, let it be, right? And you be resilient. Have your own coping mechanism. I am not responsible for everything around. I am responsible for myself and what I found right at that point. What I found right at that place. I took the decision and I own my decision, right? So you make sure of what you have decided, right? And you meditate it. You meditate it, that means this is not meditation. No, that is not meditation. Meditation is actually understanding that your decisions, the choices that you constantly make, that are progressive, that are not harming others and they work in your benefit, right? That is meditation. And the last one of it is grounded optimism, right? See, दुनिया को देखने का नजरिया ही आजकल बदल गया है. Like people are more off into negative side of it, right? So you should have optimism. अच्छा, this optimism is not haywire. Vague optimism नहीं है. This is grounded optimism. That is, you understand and recognize that there will be problems. But you internally have the capacity to reframe, refocus, redirect and achieve desired results. That is grounded optimism, right? Everybody needs this grounded optimism at some point of time, right? ख्यालों वाली बातें नहीं हैं, हवा में बातें नहीं हैं, फेरी टेल वाला सिनेरियो नहीं है. No, not that. Grounded optimism is required at every single place, in yourself, in any relationship, in any initiative, in any workplace, anywhere you go. Grounded optimism is highly important, right? You know there will be problems, right? And these problems will be there continuously. एक बार सॉल्व कर दिया फिर दूसरी बार क्यों आया नहीं होता है, वो आता ही है, right? It is like that, right? So grounded optimism is having faith in yourself to understand and reflect that I can now have desired results through this development, right? Now, grounded optimism is the propensity to anticipate the best possible outcome. Best possible पूछा है आपको, बताया है आपको. It's not the ideal which is made by somebody else. No. Best possible according to you, right? Grounded optimism is where that optimism has a healthy dose of realism and pessimism. Realism, the actual जो होता है वो. Pessimism मतलब worst of the worst thought भी तुम्हारे दिमाग में आ चुका है, right? And you are still comfortable with it. You feel that no, still I can deal with it very nicely. Now, what you will do for this is you have to focus on the positive, what best can be brought up. Then read about optimists and keep the company of the people like that. People around you, surround your people, right? Surround with people who are of your own breed, your own kind, and you feel, wow, right? I am okay with these people. I feel good being with these people. And you be mindful. You act mindful. Now, mindfulness is a skill and it has a lot to do with it, right? We're not talking about it today, but I ensure that I give you some part of things that are required. So, it was something that I really wanted to convey, and this entire session of 2 hours comes from the bottom of my heart, right? This is actually for you, for me, right? And when I say it is for me, I actually mean that, right? Because somewhere down the line, despite of knowing everything about it, we also fail to do it sometimes at some places, and we have that, imbalance into our life. But then when it comes to decision making and coping mechanism, right, this coping mechanism will create room for more of comfort zone, and I strongly believe in it, right? Thank you so much. Thank you, Scope. Thank you, 𝐵𝒍𝒂𝒌𝒆𝒓, for bringing me here, and see you from Charmis. Bye bye.